Infinity War has to be the best MCU film to date, and all the films released post-Endgame can't seem to top the standard this film set. Take a look at this scene. Now this.
I don't have to win.
And no, it's not just about the action. It's about the stakes. Stakes are really just what a character has to lose. It's the thing that makes the audience lean in and care about what happens next. It's not one single thing, though. For comic book movies, we'll break these down to 4 types. Physical stakes, emotional stakes, cosmic stakes, moral stakes. Think of physical stakes as the most immediate, visceral language of danger a film can speak. It's the direct threat of bodily harm or death to a character. As a foundational tool, it's the primary way to trigger the audience's most instinctual fear response, the fear for survival. But the craft of it isn't just about showing the threat. It's about building a believable world with consistent rules where that threat feels authentic. It's the difference between a hero who gets punched and feels it, whose movements slow down, whose breath becomes labored, and a hero who gets thrown through a building only to pop up without a scratch to deliver a one-liner. The former makes the audience lean forward, wincing with every impact. The latter teaches them that nothing in this moment truly matters, because the outcome is guaranteed. The physical stakes aren't defined by the size of the explosion, but by the audience's genuine belief that the character inside might not walk away from it. In Infinity War, every stop that Thanos makes has everyone on the edge of their seats. The opening scene of this film has 3 of our favorite characters beaten down. Thor, Hulk, and Loki have their lives on the line trying to protect themselves and the Tesseract. Then, in a shocking sequence, he kills Loki. This scene has established the strength of the antagonist, making us worry for the rest of the team. If he could kill Loki, he could definitely kill Captain America or Iron Man. Another good example is the highway fight scene in The Winter Soldier. Bucky was constantly trying to shoot everybody, and actually gets a shot at Natasha in this scene. The threat is Bucky. The laws are that if you get shot or blown up, you die. This movie has the best fights in all of the MCU, and the stakes are way higher here than in Quantumania, Black Widow, or Thor: Love and Thunder. Even when the threat level in these movies is high. The problem isn't a lack of action, it's a lack of consequence. There's a sequence in Love and Thunder with the shadow monsters attacking New Asgard. On paper, the physical stake is extreme. Children are being kidnapped. But the direction and editing completely undermine the tension. The scene is punctuated by Korg's lighthearted narration, which constantly pulls you out of the moment to remind you that none of this is supposed to be taken seriously. The threat is a faceless horde of CGI smoke monsters, and the heroes cut through them without any sense of struggle or risk. The film prioritizes the joke over the jeopardy, and in doing so, it tells the audience not to worry. The entire fight sequence in Black Widow shows 2 things. Natasha is indestructible.
How is that possible? I don't know.
And the Black Widows are all bad shots. In Winter Soldier, the shooting makes sense because some of these are all regular agents and the character actively takes cover. But here, they are Black Widow assassins. Shooting their targets is like their basic training as kids. So why do they all miss? I still don't understand this scene. If they both drop from the same height, why is Natasha okay? I know overall the physical stake in this movie is non-existent since we know she survives, but at least make it make sense. She is supposed to have broken bones, something that might hinder her throughout the film, making for more visceral fight scenes, since she is at a disadvantage. We saw this in Winter Soldier. She knows she is outmatched by this masked man, so she only attacks him when he is distracted. If not, she runs away. Emotional stakes are the heart and soul of your story. They move the conflict from the external world into the character's internal world. Simply put, emotional stakes answer the question, what does the character have to lose on the inside? A hero can walk away from a battle completely unscathed physically, but be utterly broken emotionally, because they failed to protect what mattered to them most. That is the territory of emotional stakes. Fans need to be invested not just in whether the hero wins the fight, but in what winning or losing that fight will cost them. Infinity War is built on a brilliant, devastating emotional stake, even for Thanos. Thanos must sacrifice the one thing he has come to love. Quill is tasked by the woman he loves to shoot her, which he actually does. Thor and Loki, Tony and Peter, Wanda and Vision. Really, this movie is a roller coaster of emotions watching it back. I will be talking about the new Fantastic Four, so skip ahead if you haven't watched it. I love to compare the recent Fantastic Four to the new Superman, not in a Marvel vs. DC way, but story-wise. Because both movies are alterations of established heroes in new narratives. They don't focus on the origins of these characters, and they both try to do too much with too little time. But in hindsight, Superman works much better than the Fantastic Four, and this movie would have benefited a lot if it were at least 3 hours long. And the only reason I'm using Superman is because they both have somewhat similar emotional stakes. These heroes are loved by the people of the city. They have established an image of truth and justice, but they lost it all. In Superman, Lex exposed the full video of his birth parents, saying he should take over Earth and basically have a harem of women to have his babies. In Fantastic Four, Galactus was drawn to this world because of baby Franklin, Sue's and Reed's baby. The people in Metropolis hated Superman after finding out his real motives, and the people here hated the Four for not giving up the baby. It's almost perfect if you think of it. These heroes have received nothing but love and compassion from the people they are protecting. So facing this huge backlash seems to be a way for character growth and really deep emotional work for the heroes. But what made Fantastic Four fail at this? I don't know how to say this, but the world of Fantastic Four feels fake. In Metropolis, there is a certain vibe to the place. Monsters and world-ending dimensional black holes aren't new or scary. It's just a normal Tuesday. Minor characters has personality. This woman just drove in Fast and Furious style off a destroyed bridge in a beat-up car, and it's not surprising. The team at the Daily Planet looks at this thing happening and goes ahead with their meeting. We met Malik and felt something when he was killed, even though he had just one scene. And overall, these people have different beliefs. Not everyone jumped on the bandwagon when the video dropped. This guy gave Superman his phone because he wanted him to defend himself. And the resolution wasn't the big speech from Superman, but the fact that bigger news dropped on Lex. Coupled with the fact that Lex was the person who dropped the Superman parents video in the first place, learning that this guy kidnapped a bunch of people, put them in a pocket dimension, and tries to end the world would automatically rule out everything he ever claims to be true. But here, Sue came out in a power mother moment with her baby in hand and gave a really powerful speech. It almost moved me to tears. But that's it. Everyone is back on the supporting side of the Four, which doesn't make sense. Marvel has people calling Spider-Man, who is officially an Avenger, a vigilante, but everyone across the whole world loves the Four after one speech from Sue. We are talking about the greater good here. The people in this world blindly trust the Four after they didn't really give them anything to work with. So you are telling me that there's no evil mind here that is thinking, no, I'm not risking my life and my family for your baby.
Is it just me?
With the limited time, they couldn't really let the storyline breathe before resolving it. I saw this comment about the movie, and honestly, that's true. I'm not really going to dive deep into some of the other problems, because I assume people haven't seen it yet, so I will just stop here. Let's go to the next stake. In its simplest terms, cosmic stakes represent the ultimate scale of conflict, the threat to reality itself, the universe, all of existence, or the fundamental laws of time and space. It's the narrative playing field at its absolute largest. But from a craft perspective, that's also what makes them the most difficult to execute well. A cosmic stake is an abstract concept. An audience cannot emotionally connect with the idea of everything. Therefore, the writer's crucial job is to anchor this unimaginably large threat to something small, tangible, and deeply human. It cannot be about saving the universe. It must be about a character saving their universe, the people, places, and things that give their life meaning. If the fate of the world is on the line, but the audience is only truly worried about whether a father will lose his daughter, then you've understood the assignment. The cosmic provides the scale, but the personal provides the heart. Without that anchor, cosmic stakes become meaningless noise, a hollow spectacle of CGI where the outcome feels weightless because nothing we actually care about is connected to it. When you fail to build that bridge between the cosmic and the personal, you're left with empty spectacle, A lot of noise and flashing lights that the audience watches from a distance, completely unmoved. The universe is at stake, but nothing of value feels like it's on the line. Moral stakes are the internal, philosophical conflict a character must navigate. It's not about what they might lose, but who they might become in the process of winning. Where physical stakes ask, will they survive? And emotional stakes ask, will they be hurt? Moral stakes ask, what is the right thing to do, and what will it cost me to do it? This is the battleground of a character's soul, where the central tension isn't against a villain, but against their own principles and ethics. A moral dilemma forces a hero to choose between two or more deeply held values. For example, protecting a friend versus upholding the law, or achieving a greater good through a lesser evil. The most powerful stories use moral stakes to create a Pyrrhic victory. The hero wins the physical battle, but in doing so, they lose a piece of their innocence, integrity, or idealism. This creates lasting consequences that are far more resonant than any physical injury. The audience is left to wrestle with the question, was it worth it? This complexity separates a simple action story from a profound character study. It's a conflict of principles, a battle for a character's soul where the cost of victory might be their own humanity. And Civil War is a brilliant example. Steve's journey isn't about winning the fight. It's about whether he can protect his friend without betraying his core principle that the safest hands are still their own. The film forces him to make an impossible choice, and in the end, he loses morally by choosing Bucky over the Avengers, fracturing his found family. That's the power of a moral stake. The victory is Pyrrhic, and the scars are on the inside. Now look at a film like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It introduces a fascinating moral dilemma. Is it ethical for Strange to use dark magic, or even possess the corpse of his variant, to stop a greater evil? Can he win without becoming the monster he's fighting? But the film almost immediately abandons this profound question. Strange faces no lasting consequence or genuine reckoning with these horrific acts. The moral conflict is raised as a plot point, but is never explored as a true character flaw. It's resolved not through internal struggle, but by a sudden, unearned power-up for America Chavez. The fight was only ever physical, and that's why it's ultimately forgotten. The one movie post-Endgame that checks all these boxes is Spider-Man No Way Home. Peter fighting every one of these villains at once is basically suicide. Losing Aunt May right after he lost Tony placed Peter at the darkest moment of his life. He is not prepared mentally to go up against the Goblin again. The moment he lost Aunt May, something broke. And the Goblin is the sole reason. He wants Peter to kill him. He wants Peter to cross that line. And finally, the multiverse was collapsing on itself, drawing different universes into one, and all these stakes were overcome with the help of Peter 1 and Peter 3. They helped to fight the villains, helped him with his grief, stopped him from crossing that line, and well, Strange helped with multiverse chaos. This should be the perfect example of utilizing the four stakes in one movie, having the resolution be necessary to the plot, and making a little bit of sense. But the only reason this falls behind is the setup. Setup is the architectural foundation of your story. It's everything you lay down early that makes a later payoff feel earned, logical, and satisfying. It's the careful planting of information, be it character motivation, world-building rules, or emotional context, that allows your third act to explode with meaning instead of confusion. Having the setup of this whole ensemble be this is just laziness. Well, the reason I didn't mention the Thunderbolt is that it's actually good with the stakes. The physical stakes were eminent. The entire movie is one emotional roller coaster. I don't know if the Void can be classified as a cosmic stake because he only puts New York in depression jail, and moral stakes are irrelevant since all these characters have already crossed that line. They're just trying to redeem themselves now. So good movie. The whole craft relies on making the audience feel something important is at stake. It's not just about how big the threat is, but how well everything is set up from the start. Creating a world with clear rules and characters whose motivations are understood. So when danger shows up, the audience truly believes something valuable could be lost. The real magic happens when a conflict forces a character to face an impossible choice, showing who they really are based on what they're willing to give up. If you don't lay down that solid foundation, even the biggest battles don't feel real because no one thinks anything really matters.
Poor Peter. Too weak to send me home to die.
No. I just want to kill you myself.
Attaboy.